So hello everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. And today that we are going to see like how we can get started with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, so I know that most of you must have heard of, as well as even you must have got some hands-on to work with Microsoft 365 Copilot. But just to start with, from a blank slate, Microsoft 365 Copilot or Microsoft Copilot is nothing but your AI assistant that can help you perform tasks in your daily routine. So let's say, for example, you missed out any of the meeting in Microsoft Teams and you want to again go through the transcript. It is a time consuming. So Microsoft Copilot can help you get all of the insights from that meeting. Again, for example, if you want to create new documents, again, Copilot in general is not only limited to Microsoft 365 as such, but again, you can use that across Dynamics 365. Again, you can use that in GitHub Copilot and many more things. Okay, so that is kind of an exciting journey where we are experiencing with Microsoft 365 Copilot. And today that we will see like what are the basics around Microsoft 365 Copilot. And for example, if you are new to Microsoft 365 Copilot, or if you are just on a journey to using Microsoft 365 Copilot, then what are the basics around that and how you can get started, how you can get up to the speed with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Again, for example, you have been hearing lot many keywords or lot many buzzes around AI, OpenAI, Copilot. Then are those related? Is there any kind of an relationship between them? So we are going to explore all those things. Okay, so that is how our session is outlined. Okay, so before we start the session, quick introduction. Myself, Nadadeep Nasan. I'm from Pune and I'm Microsoft MVP for M365 as well as AI platform. I'm 5 times Microsoft MVP on that. And I'm author of these 3 books, including SharePoint Framework, SharePoint Hybrid with SharePoint 2019, and Microsoft Viva Connections. And onto the right hand side, here are my social media handles, Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as my blogs and YouTube. So if in case you want to have this discussion further, please get connected with me and we can take ahead the discussion. All right. So to start with, I just want to start with this picture, which shows like the time it has took to reach 100 million users for each of the technology or maybe each of the product. So maybe let's start with mobile phones. Okay. So I'm not sure like for how long you have been using mobile phones, but at least I exist on Earth when there was no mobile phones as well. So my journey with mobile phone started with Nokia series, the very basic one, Nokia 1100 or maybe that series. Okay, so in order to mobile phones to reach to almost 100 million users so that they can use them effectively, it took almost 16 years. Okay, so 16 year was the journey it took for mobile phones to reach to 100 million mark of the user. So it is a very long journey. There are obvious reasons for that because probably during that time, for example, if you go back 16 years, technology was not that much advanced. Even the mobile phones were very basic, so that you can just take the call, you can just type the messages, and that's it only. And again, for that, the cost was too much. So there were multiple reasons like why it took 16 years for mobile phones to reach 100 million users, but it took that. Now that the other thing which came as a revolutionary was internet. Okay, so again we started using internet through broadbands as well as even onto the mobile phones. And for internet to reach almost 100 million users, it took 7 years. Okay, so compared to mobile phones, it was quite lesser time that it took. There were again multiple reasons for that because we already had access to the mobile phones, we already had access to the desktops. Maybe I will not say laptops because even laptops were not that much popular at those period of time. But at least mobile phones and desktop versions, because of which it took some lesser year for internet to reach 100 million users. Okay, and probably that was again one of the revolutionary kind of a thing because when we had access to the internet, there were multiple applications, multiple services that started running onto the internet, and then Facebook was one of that. Even I know you must be using Facebook even nowadays. So prior to that, there were Orkut and many more social media platforms. But Facebook was the, or even Facebook is the one of the largest used social media platform just for the friends, connecting with the friends and all those things. Okay, so for Facebook, it took 4.5 years to get to 100 million users. Again, there were reasons that we had access to the internet, we had access to the mobile phones, and internet was part of mobile phones. So obviously, the time it took for Facebook to reach 100 million users was very, very less. It just 4.5 years. Now that let's moving forward, coming to today's date, we do have access to the Chat GPT. Okay, and don't tell me that you don't use Chat GPT or you have not used or seen Chat GPT. But again, if in case you have not, I'm going to show you like how the Chat GPT looks like. But with the access of everything that we have got here, Chat GPT took only 3 months to reach 100 million users. Okay, only 3 months. So you can see the potential of this Chat GPT. So probably it was like, for example, if you think of like why everyone is behind ChatGPT. So the simple reason is like it generates the new content. Okay, so based on the information or based on the prompt or input that you give to the ChatGPT, it goes ahead and give you more information. Okay, so there is everything that ChatGPT knows, and once you just ask ChatGPT, I want this information, it goes ahead and it give you the access to that information. Okay, so which is very very much a good thing. And again, that was the point which attracted all those 100 million users to go ahead and start using the ChatGPT. And it took roughly 2 to 3 months to reach to that 100 million mark for the ChatGPT. Okay, so only thing here is like we know that ChatGPT uses AI, it uses LLM in the background. So the question is like, was that just developed in those 3 months or maybe just 3 to 6 months? No, probably not. So for example, if you have a look at the foundation of AI, it started in 1950s or specifically around 1956, where we had basic kind of an AI-driven applications written. And then again, eventually we started moving to the neural networks, machine learning, and nowadays we have got generative AI. So again, generative AI in simple word is something like we can generate a new content based on the existing content. So that is just the generative AI. And when again it comes to the generative AI, we do have multimodalities. So for example, we are not only limited that we just ask a chat input or text input to the chat GPT or any of the applications which are running on AI or OpenAI, for example, even Copilot. So it is not only limited that we just ask text input and it gives us the text output. We have gone beyond that, and again, we are in the world of multimodality, wherein we can ask ChatGPT or even Copilot to generate the images. We can ask, or we can probably give the input as an image, and we can ask ChatGPT or even Copilot to explain us that image, like what are the famous entities into those image or what that image depicts and everything. So that is where ChatGPT is very much familiar or very much famous for. And there were those reasons like why it took only 3 months to get to that mark. Okay, so for example, if you are not into those 100 million users, you're still not yet very late onto the party. Go ahead, start using that ChatGPT. All right, so let us move ahead. Like this is just one kind of an slide I just wanted to show you too, like how everyone uses ChatGPT nowadays. So let's say, for example, you are writing some kind of an text, any kind of an generative AI, probably that is where the ChatGPT or Copilot kind of a thing will help you. So let's say, for example, this is the person who wanted to impress the other person, and he just have got only one single bullet point, but he don't want to get pretended to be just only knowing of that one line, but he want to generate a long email that can be pretended that he has wrote, and then he asks help from AI that it can turn that single bullet point into the long email, and then that's it. So this is the only single bullet point that probably he was knowing, and then once he asks AI to go ahead and write or explain in detail about that bullet point, it creates a long generated email. Okay, so this is the long email that has generated. But again, make a note that the other person who is sitting onto the receiver end, even that person is brilliant, even that person knows AI. So what that person do, the other person, the receiver person that do is, again, he makes use of the AI and he asks AI to go ahead and sort out that entire long email into just one bullet point. Okay, so all of the discussion just started with one bullet point, ending onto the one bullet point. But this is where probably we should not use generative AI. But this was just the smaller kind of a slide. I just wanted to let you know just the just the prefer kind of a site. So there are multiple applications or at least multiple reasons why we use generative AI. Probably this is not the one. So again, there are few discussions going on around should we have any of the software available that can help detect like the content which is generated, is it generated using the generative AI? And again, just to let you know, OpenAI already has that software ready with them, which can go through the content, and then again it can detect like how much percentage of that content is being generated using generative AI. For example, ChatGPT, Copilot, all those kind of a thing. But again, just looking at the popularity of ChatGPT and Copilot, OpenAI has not yet released that software. But again, yes, there is a software which exists which can help you detect how that content got generated. Okay, so again, everything comes to the responsible AI. So, for example, even if you are using AI to generate the content, it is your responsibility that maybe just make a transparency note while you are generating that content that this particular content has been generated with AI, or maybe generation of this content has been speeded up by using the generative AI. Okay, so it is entirely your responsibility. All right, so let us try to see like how this generative AI works into a very nutshell. And again, while I was going through multiple articles onto the generative AI and everything, I came across this the Chinese room argument. Okay, so it is one of the best stories on how we see AI. Okay, so only thing here is like just imagine that you have been trapped into a room. So probably this person is you who has been trapped into this room. Okay, and then on the either side of the room there are small windows available. So here is one in window available and there is one out window available. So outside of this window, you don't have any view of the other thing. So you just have the view of this room. Outside of that, you don't know. There are just only two windows, in window and out window, and then you have been stuck into this particular room. Okay. So through one of the window, a person slides in a symbol, and inside the room there is a giant instruction manual that you can see, and you can use that manual to help you decide this input symbol, pick the right output symbol, and you slide the output symbol out to the person onto the other side of the room. Okay, so that means you don't know like what symbol is coming to you. You just pick up that symbol which is coming into your bucket. You look into this bigger dictionary, translate that symbol into other symbol. You pick up that symbol from this list and then you just give it back to the user or give it back to the application who is on to the receiving end. Okay, so that is the only thing that you are doing. You don't know who is this person, what kind of a symbol he may or may not pass, what kind of symbol you are going to pick up from this list, and then how you are going to or to whom you are going to pass on that information. Okay, so you don't know because you have been locked into the room and you just know how to map one symbol to the other symbol. Okay, so in that case, what you don't realize is that you are communicating with people outside using those Chinese characters. Okay, so you have no clue about the actual conversation. All you are doing is that you are using this instruction manual, the big instructions manual, to pass the messages back and forth, and you certainly don't understand Chinese. Okay, so there was one American philosopher, John Searle, in 1980s, who used this thought experiment to argue that even if a computer can process and produce human-like kind of a responses, it doesn't necessarily understand it in the same way as the human can do. Similarly, for example, if you are coming to today's day, ChatGPT, despite of all of its advanced capabilities, it doesn't truly understand the information it processes or the responses that it provides. So it essentially matching the patterns based on the training data. Okay, so you can consider this one as your LLM, large language model. You just get the input, which is your prompt. You process all that input using this LLM, large language model, which has been trained onto a huge data, and then you give the output back. Okay, so that is only ChatGPT do. It doesn't understand any of the feelings or any of the content inside of that. So the AI programs like this ChatGPT, they employ the LLM, large language model, that use this statistical analytics of billions of sentences which are written by human to create the output based on predictive probabilities. So in this sense, like it is purely mathematical approach based on a huge amount of data. So also it implies that the machines don't need to be have sentiment to produce the meaningful output. Okay, so just like how I may not understand Chinese or philosophy, but still I can retell a good story about both. Okay, so this is how the Chinese argument model is, and probably this is where we can fit in the LLM large language model. Okay, so we have talked enough about everything. Let's get into the topic like Copilot. Okay, so I know that you must be pretty much interested to see Copilot, how that one looks like. But let me just take one step back, and I will start with ChatGPT. Okay, so for example, if you just go to chat.openai.com or just chatgpt.com, this is the interface where you can use ChatGPT, and I know that most of you must have used. Again, there are various versions, like for example, right now ChatGPT also uses GPT-4o kind of an models, which are two times faster than GPT-4 as well as half of the price of GPT-4. And again, it has got more input and output parameters, and that's the way like you have an option. Go ahead for GPT-4o. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are just going to ask something to LLM. So LLM is nothing but large language model, which is an engine which is running behind this ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT is not at all LLM. Okay, so most of the people ask like, is ChatGPT LLM? No, ChatGPT is not a LLM. ChatGPT is just an application that uses the LLM. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to ask some question like what can you tell me about rabbit to this LLM. And again, we just know that LLM, large language model, but how large is it? So do we know the answer? Probably let's try to find it out. So as a theory, like when it comes to the LLM, large language model, it has been trained onto the huge amount of data or huge amount of information which is available onto the internet, onto the books, articles, and everything, and it has been trained on that. Okay, so let us try to see like, for example, even if I ask you this same question, maybe don't use ChatGPT, but try to create an answer in your mind, like what can you tell me about rabbit? Okay, so probably you can come up with rabbit is the probably a pet or maybe animal just which you can find in jungles, probably so somewhere near your grounds, or what kind of an fruit it likes and everything. Probably you can just come up with those answers. Okay, but let's try to see like what ChatGPT or this LLM has got to say about rabbit. So from here you can see that it is going more into the details about each of the characteristics of rabbit. So for example, it talks about the physical characteristics of the rabbit, because whenever, for example, we are looking at rabbit, probably these are the two things that comes very particular about the rabbit. So for example, the ear and teeth. So even for example, when you will have a look at the pictures or the diagrams that we create of rabbit, probably more focus is onto the ears and teeth. Okay, so it was able to get all that information. So again, for example, if you have a look at the diet, behavior, reproduction, um, domestication, symbolism, conversation, and everything. Probably, I can understand. Like, probably you might have thought about these 2 points, like what are the physical characteristics of a rabbit, how it looks like, what is the diet that he likes. But probably the other points you may or may not have think of when I ask you the same question. So this is where the LLM comes into the picture, and it gives us the aspect of all of the information that it has got. Okay, so probably this information existed there in the part of some science or even some kind of an animal literature, but probably we were not thinking into those direction. But since LLM has got access to all that information, it was able to go into all those aspects and get us the information. Okay, so to be specific, we never trained LLM onto rabbit. Okay, so I don't think that there was any special effort went to train LLM onto the rabbit, but still it was able to get into the context based on the information which is available on the internet and give you this information. All right, so let us ask the same next question, like can rabbit, or I'm just typing like can he. So from he it should get to the context that I'm talking about rabbit. So can he beat tortoise in the race? Okay, so again, for example, you must have heard of the story of rabbit and tortoise as a bedtime story, or maybe in your school. But I don't think LLM went anywhere into the school, or it anytime went to sleep. So let's see like whether does LLM able to give us the answer on this. Okay, so let us see like can he beat tortoise in the race. So again, it's there's like there's a classic story behind that the tortoise and hare. So again, if you have a look at this word hare, so hare is again synonym of rabbit. So it was able to get to that synonym as well, which suggests that it is a rabbit. And then from there, it is giving these statistics like there is a classic story which is available wherein a tortoise have bitten hare or rabbit. But again, for example, if you go into the real statistics in the reality, it may not happen because the speed at which a rabbit runs is quite faster than the tortoise. Okay, but this was just a story. But again, just to give you the context, yes, there is this thing available, and at least it knows about the context of the stories as well as it is giving us the statistics of the reality. Okay, so that is one thing. Again, I just wanted to give you example of similar example of elephant. Okay, so this is the example which has been given at various Microsoft conferences as well. So when we talk to LLM about tell me about elephants, so it gives all of the information about the key characteristics, for example, the size, trunks, tusk, skin, and everything about the elephant. At the same time, it gave us the social behavior, hab- habitat, and all the information about the elephant. Okay. The next question that we ask, like, can elephant pull Fortuner? So again, here I'm just specifying it as a Fortuner. I'm not at all specifying that it is a Toyota Fortuner. But again, LLM knows that I'm into the context of Toyota Fortuner, and I'm just trying to ask this. LLM, like, can elephant go ahead and pull this Toyota Fortuner? So, okay, so again, there it gives us various aspects. So it gives the statistical updates like this is the probably the weight of the Toyota Fortuner. It is around 2,000 to 2,700 kgs. And again, for example, the weight of the elephant could be in the range of 20,000 pounds. Okay, so that means there is a possibility that it can go ahead and pull the Fortuner out of any danger. But again, in the in the modern times, elephants are generally not used for such tasks, and their strength is better respected and everything. Okay, so it is giving the social aspect as well. Okay, so it is not only limited to just giving the output upon what you are thinking, but it is going beyond that. Okay, so this is just one example I just wanted to show you. So just the point that I wanted to make here is that we haven't specifically trained LLM on a certain topic, but based on the vast kind of information which is available to LLM from the internet where it has trained, it has got access to everything. And one good thing is that it is giving all of the aspect of all those points. Okay, so based on the key characteristics, statistic, realistic situations, and everything. Okay, so let's come to some other things like I'm just asking like what can you tell me about weather report of Pune, the city where I live for past 50 years. Okay, so this is probably the weather condition that I'm trying to look into. So obviously 50 years back, probably even for example if you ask your parents or grandparents, they probably will be able to tell you like the weather of your city was something like this. It used to be heavy rains. It used to be very heavy, what we say, extreme conditions and everything. But okay, so this is the information that we get about a certain city, like how the weather was. Okay, but now that, for example, if you want to go into some scientific kind of a thing and you want to get a graph out of it, so you can ask the question like, can you give me a graph of it over last 8 quarters? Okay, so now that we are going into a simple thing of we want to have a graph around how the temperature of a certain city at given point of time. Okay, okay, so now that there is a catch that probably okay, I do use GPT-4o. Let me just try one more time with that. So GPT-4o should be able to help you with actually creating that graph and everything. If in case it doesn't work, I can show you that with Copilot, not with ChatGPT. So there is a only thing is like right now it has got information about the statistics of the data that we have got around the temperature or weather condition of one of the city, and then from there it should go ahead and create a graph. Okay, so you can see that as soon as I switched to using GPT-4o, I was able to get to that graph. So this is a graph which specifically shows like how the weather of Pune during last 8 quarters. So for example, here we do have temperature, we have got those quarters, and again, this is the weather look like when it comes to the rainfall as well as the temperature parameter. Okay. So now the question is like from where it has generated the graph. Okay, because probably this is not the image which existed anywhere onto the internet or neither in any of the books. So from where it generated the graph. So simple thing is like it uses something called as a Python in the background. So let us try to see like whether it has used some code. So I will just ask like, can you please show me the code behind this chart, and that's it. So let's see. So okay, I was probably correct. Like this is the Python code that it has used, and it has got information from one of the weather API or one of the weather information available onto the internet, and then from there it was able to pick up this graph. Okay, so this is the code that you can see. So every time, for example, if you're not very much sure of, you can go ahead and ask this information to ChatGPT. All right, so now that let's come to the aspect of Copilot. Okay, so Copilot is nothing but Microsoft product which is available in Microsoft 365 as well as in general, which uses all these capabilities of AI, generative AI, but onto the Microsoft platform. And again, there is a RAG button which is created on top of Copilot so that it has got access to everything that it needs from the Bing search. Okay, so when Bing searches the data, it creates its own index, and Copilot has got access to that index so that it can quickly go ahead and pull out the information for you. So here you can see that I just have logged in to my account. Using this, and we will be able to do more things here. Okay, so let's say for example, if I ask the same questions like what is the weather of Pune and everything, it will be able to give us all the information. So if you remember this URL, copilot.microsoft.com, so this is the free version of Copilot that you will be able to use and get you all of the things done. Now that I just want to switch the gears and go to the Copilot which is available in Microsoft 365. So for this, obviously, you will need Microsoft 365 license. You will need Copilot license. Once you have the Copilot license, the Copilot will be available to you onto this left menu or left bar, and from here you will be able to access the Copilot. Again, we do have web version of it available as well as the work version of it available. Web version, that means obviously it is going to search for the information from the internet. Work, that means when we work with Microsoft 365, there are various apps and services which are associated with Microsoft 365. So for example, if I open up this waffle menu, we do have Outlook, OneDrive, Office applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, SharePoint, Teams, Viva, Power Platform, Forms, List, and many more things. So similar to that, all of the data or the applications that we interact within the Microsoft 365 boundary, this Copilot has got access to that, and then again, it can help you get the information from those various sources. Not just get the information, or even you will be able to create the information from there. Okay, so this is the web version look like. All right, so now that let's say like I will ask a simple question to Copilot to start with, like how is my day look like? Okay, so I'm just trying to see like what are the meetings and everything that I have got here. All right, so here you can see that I do have that information. Like it is saying that you have a busy day ahead. So 10 to 11, I'm just giving this session right now. And again, at 12 to 1, I have got another speaking session. At 3 to 4, I have got some meeting with my client. And again, at 6 to 6:30, I do have temple visit. So from here again, you can see that I'm a very devotional person. So now that I do have all this um, task to do, but probably I may or may not be able to perform all those things right now. Okay, so I just want to do some kind of a categorization. So categorization, that means probably I want to skip few things. I just want to do some prioritization so that I can see quickly like which are the important meetings for me to attend, or which are the important things for me to do today, and which I can skip. So I'm just again giving this prompt. So prompt is nothing but the input that we give to this Copilot or to any of the AI applications. So that input is called as prompt, and the output that we get is called as the completion. Okay, so let us go ahead, try to get this information considering my schedule on Saturday, which is today. um, like can you categorize all those things? So here you can see that it was able to figure out that these are my meetings, these are my personal things. When I created this entries into my calendar, I never mentioned that this is my meeting or this is my personal thing. But again, it was able to get to the context of what kind of that meeting was. For example, if it was the Teams meeting, or looking at the description as well as the title of that meeting, it used that AI capability to go ahead and sort out those. So, for example, these are the meetings, these are the personal things that I want to do. And for example, if I want to go ahead and do the prioritization, obviously it is giving me prioritization list, like these are the priorities that I should follow. Okay, so this is the thing that I have got. Let's say, for example, now we want to go some more deeper. Like I do have some work to do, but again, can it give me some kind of an advice, like considering this schedule? Can it suggest some kind of a nearby trekking or camping place, so which I can visit and probably looking out some kind of an trip advices. So from here you can see that it was able to give me some suggestions. It may or may not be correct, because I don't think these are the places in Pune. The only reason why it wasn't able to do that, because I didn't have the web content plugin available. So what is meant by the web content is, with web content it will have access to the internet data as well. So now that, for example, if I ask this question again, it should be able to locate that. At least I'm located somewhere in Pune, and then it should be able to give some places. Only thing is, like, since I have not mentioned that which country or city that I belong to right now, it is giving me some different thing. But um, let me try to do that. Okay, so specifically I'm mentioning about Pune location here, and then since this one has got access to the web, it can go ahead and now that probably you can see some familiar kind of an places like port, lakes and everything, which we can use for the trekking or camping purpose. Okay, all right. So this is the thing that we can do. So let me ask, like, a few of the other questions to this Copilot as well. So, like, for example, I just want to know, like, which are the latest things that I have got from few person. Let's say, for example, Debra in this case. So I will ask, like, what is the latest from Debra, organized by email, chat, and documents. So if in case, let's say, you are on some long leave, you come back to the office, and then you want to just know the Debra, probably he is your manager, or maybe the person that you are working with very closely, and you don't want to miss out on any of the communication that was from this person. So in that case, you can just ask, like, what is the latest from this person, and it can get you all that information. Okay, all right. So you can get this information as well. As now that, let us try some very generic kind of a prompt, like, can you summarize the last 5 emails from my boss? And to be specific, look for the last 5 emails from him over the last 24 hours and stack them in the rank. Probably I might not have uh, in the 24-hour, but I will say maybe last 3 months, because this is my personal tenant, so I don't usually get the emails on this. Okay. All right. So let us try to see, like, is it able to get that information? So, but only thing you can see that it was able to get to the fact that Debra is my manager, because this is the person which I have set as my manager into the Active Directory, so that it was able to get to that fact that this is your manager, and then from here it can go ahead and give us the information. Okay, so this is the thing that can happen with Copilot. Okay. All right, so coming back to our slides, so we do have this Copilot which we are using day in, day out kind of a thing. But then what is the architecture behind that? Okay, so does everything happens in the air? No. So there is some kind of a thought process, some kind of an architecture that goes behind this, and this is that architecture is. Okay, so this particular diagram, it illustrates like how user's prompt is interpreted and processed into the natural language, which are resulted through the Copilot system. Okay, so first thing is that the number one, user give us the prompt. So let's say, for example, you open up a Word or Teams or PowerPoint, Excel, or Outlook, and from there you start interacting with the um, user prompt. Okay, so let's say, for example, if I again want to go into the practical details of it, so here we do have this Copilot available. So what I will do is I will just go ahead into create mode. Okay, So I just have clicked this raffle menu. I went to this create more. So as soon as I go into the create more, this gives us the option like what are the things that I can be able to do with Microsoft 365. Okay, so I can create a Word document, PowerPoint, Excel, forms, and everything. But here, if you notice, we do have option to help me create with Copilot. Okay, so I will just go into that Copilot. And now that I will put some kind of a prompt, if in case you are not very much sure what kind of a prompt we can use, at the bottom there is a link to show all examples. Okay, so I will just go for that, and then we do have various examples which are kind of a starter point for you. So let's say, for example, marketing plan for a house painting business, and I will just click generate. So what it will do is it will generate all of the bullet points around that idea that we are looking out for. So let's say, for example, if you just have idea but you don't know like how to proceed with that, what are the things that you will need for implementing that idea, or how you can go ahead and plan out that. Obviously, you can take help of Copilot. It can help you create a draft version of it, not the final, because you are the one who can go ahead and create that. All right. So from here, you can see that it was able to give us all the information. And lastly, it is asking like, can it go ahead and create a Word file out of it, or can it create a PowerPoint out of it? Let us try to uh, go ahead and try to create a Word file out of it. So it will take some time because right now, even though this feature is in bit of preview, so it will take some time, and in some time we should be able to have that Word file ready with us. Okay. All right. So meanwhile, what I will do is I will just open up the Word here, and then we will try to create one document into the Word. Okay, so I will just start with the blank document, and this is the tenant where I do have my Copilot. So in this Word, what will happen is that onto the right hand top corner we do have this Copilot icon. Okay, so I will just click on the Copilot, and then it is asking me to sign in. Let me just do a sign in quickly. Okay, so onto the right pane here you can see that these are the things that I can do with the Copilot. So I will just say like create a for okay, I'm just randomly giving some kind of a prompt like create a document for Contosity product information. So I'm just expecting that there is a company called as Contosity for which I work for, and then it should go ahead and give that information. Okay, so from here you can see that it was able to create that information, and again there are few of the references that it has taken. So those references again coming from all of the files that I do already have in my tenant. So it has created or got into the context of that and given us the information. So simply I can go ahead and do the copy paste here. Obviously, I will have to remove those starting point. Otherwise, the person who is on the receiving end should be able to know that I have created this with Copilot. All right, so it is not just only about creating the new content, but again, what you can do is you can regenerate the content or write a prompt, auto rewrite, or probably if you want to visualize this as a table, so you can just go ahead and try to visualize that this as a table because maybe for a human being, instead of understanding the long descriptive text, pictures or tables make it more clear. Okay, and then from here you can see that the all of the content that we had got as a bullet points, it was able to create a nice table out of it. Okay, so just think of the human efforts that would have required to translate this information from the description into the tables. So it has done it in very simple ways. Okay, so this is the power that it has got. And now that if I come back to our architecture, so this was the user prompt. So I just had asked like, can it go ahead and create some kind of a product information for me into the Word? So that was the prompt, and that prompt now came to the Copilot. Okay, so when it comes to the Copilot, it does some kind of an pre-processing of that prompt through the approach which is called as a grounding, which improves the specificity of that prompt. So grounding is nothing but it has got access to the Microsoft Graph. It can look out for the Microsoft Graph information. So for example, if you are not aware of Microsoft Graph has got access to everything that you work with, all of the people um, that you work with, as well as all of the content that you have generated or being working with Microsoft 365. So it could be SharePoint, it could be files, meetings, chat, calendars, contacts, all those kind of thing. It has got information. So probably if you're not aware of Microsoft Graph, just to spend some time before you understand or start using the Copilot just for your information. So it will use that Microsoft Graph to generate that information, and that is the reason when I again, for example, go back here, you can see that these are the three references that it has got, because this Microsoft Graph, it can have access to all of the files that I have been working on. So it quickly got into the context that okay, there is a file called as Contoso Jai or Contoso T, which I already have, and it helped me to generate the content based out of that information. Okay, so this is how the pre-processing or that grounding happens. After that, what happens is that it retrieves that information from the RAG, which is a retrieval augmented generation, and it allows Copilot to provide exactly the right type of information as input to the LLM. And when doing so, Copilot combines this user data with other inputs such as information retrieved from knowledge based articles or maybe from the internet to improve the user prompt. Okay, and then what happens is like that modified prompt has been sent to the LLM. It gets the response, and again, once it gets the response, it doesn't pass on that response as it is, but definitely it applies the RAI, that means responsible AI kind of a thing on top of that, so that we can just detect that there is no harmful content into the prompt as well as into the response. And when it processes everything, it gives that response back to the application. Okay, so this is what has happened when we just had given this input. Okay, so not only limited to the architecture part, but this is how it works in the background. So that is the only thing I just wanted to tell you. So in a nutshell, Copilot is not just the kind of a product that Microsoft has released, but Microsoft is using that product itself into its current products or into its applications which are running onto their Microsoft 365 platform or maybe beyond that. So, for example, if you go into one of the application which is beyond that, so I know that for you might have heard of designer.microsoft.com. So designer.microsoft.com is again designer for you, which is available from Microsoft, that can help you to create some kind of an images, because whenever we are working with images, we are obviously concerned about let me just sign in here. We are more concerned about the authenticity of the images, or maybe the trademarks, or maybe attributions. Okay, let me just have to sign out. Okay, just give me one moment. I think because of my multiple logins to this system, it wasn't able to get to that. All right, so let me just again go back to the designer.microsoft.com. So from here, you should be able to generate images that you need. Okay, because when we need to use the images, obviously we need to think of like, are there any kind of an copyrights around those images and everything? Okay, probably I don't have access to my mobile right now, but okay, let me just show you the free version of it, the designer.microsoft.com. So from here, you can be able to create either images, greeting cards, icons, social posts, and everything. Okay, so you don't need to probably need help from your UI designer, or everything. You can quickly get started with all those things, and then again you can ask the help from the designer to make it more personal to you. Okay, so let's say for example, we want to try out some kind of an images. Again, from here you can see that all of the AI capabilities are available. You want to generate the image, edit the image, remove the background, invitations, Facebook ad, and everything. Okay, so all those things are available. So let us go into the images and try to see where it is able to generate some kind of images. So if in case you like any of the image, let's say for example, you are working on to a birthday party invitation, and then you thought that okay, this is probably the image that I should look into. So as soon as you see here, you want to get into the prompt for that image, you can just mouse over on that, or maybe just click this edit this prompt, and you can see that this is the entire prompt that it has got. So the large pile of presents with everything, 3D illustration style and everything, and this is where from it will be able to generate that images. And again, for example, if you want to generate image something like this, again you can just go ahead and uh, do a mouse over onto it, and then you can edit this prompt. Okay, so there are various ideas available if in case you want to get started with that. But let's say for example we want to generate some kind of a random image, like let's say dinosaurs playing football with elephants. Okay, probably this is the thing which we will not be able to use. Oh, okay, because since I have not signed in, I will not be able to use this. But let me just do one thing quickly. I think I do have access to designer.microsoft.com from my Gmail account. Just give me one moment. Okay, so this is the account that I have got, which we should be able to use to generate the images. Okay, all right. So only thing is like you should have just one idea, and it can help you translate that entire idea into the innovations. Okay, so let us go ahead, try to create an image, and to this image, I just want this image to be used as dinosaurs playing football with elephants. Okay, and let us try to generate the image. Again, we do have sizes available in which kind of a size, for example, square or maybe landscape, portrait, or what kind of an resolution you want to generate the image. Okay, and again, for example, you can see that probably I use this same kind of a prompt for most of my sessions. So you can already see that there are images like where you can see the elephant playing football with dinosaur. Probably these are the images which are rarest, which we will not be able to see because we don't have dinosaurs exist on the earth. But here you can easily point out that there are dinosaurs, there are elephants who are playing against each other, and probably this was one of the image that I had generated while I was presenting the session to the other audiences, and I just asked like, can it create an image wherein elephant is pulling out Fortuner, and then from here you can see that it looks like very realistic kind of an image. Okay, but trust me, this is not a real image. But still, from the fact that you can see that there is a Fortuner which is it was able to get into the picture, and again it is kind of an stuck somewhere, and elephant is trying to pull that out of that situation. And again, there are there are various people who are watching, and again we can see few of the people who are on the top of the elephant as well. And again, for example, here again you can see. So only thing here is like Copilot again can get into that context. Like if I ask elephant to pull the Fortuner, obviously there has to be some situation when I will ask elephant to pull the Fortuner. Okay, I will not use it just to save my diesel, but obviously Fortuner is in some kind of a trouble, and elephant is trying to get Fortuner out of that trouble. So Copilot will go into that context as well. It will generate that kind of an situation from where it can see that probably from here you can make it out that there is a Fortuner, but probably it has stuck into the mud, and elephant is trying to pull that Fortuner out of it. Okay, so these are the contexts in which you will be able to see that. Okay, probably this may not be that very relevant kind of an image, but let's say for example, if you are doing it for your presentation, you can use this kind of an images so that you don't need to worry about copyrights and everything, and you can simply go ahead and use. But again, as I said previously, since we are working as a responsible person for the AI, we should use the responsible AI principles. And when you generate image like this, it is your responsibility to add the transparency note that this is the image which has been generated with AI. All right, so let us move ahead. These are the things that you can do with Copilot, and or maybe Copilot can help you do. So these are various scenarios in which Copilot can help you probably to write an introductory paragraph, which we just have seen, add the relevant image, which we have seen. Again, you can ask like, what are your tasks, which even we have seen. And again, for example, if you want to summarize few of the key points, let's say for example, you have not attended any of the meeting and you want to just get the key points out of that meeting, Copilot can do that. And again, for example, since this one has got context or access to the internet, it can help you understand the things like, for example, what are the trends, and again, you can be in line with all those trends. Okay, so just coming to this my Copilot for Microsoft 365 specifically. So let's jump into that. So what is Copilot for Microsoft 365 and how it can work exactly? Like the Copilot for Microsoft 365 is your Copilot for work. Okay, so it is a kind of a sophisticated processing and orchestration kind of an engine which provides AI-powered productivity capabilities. And at a fundamental level, Copilot has got few core components. So first one is this LLM that we have talked about, large language models. Again, we do have some of the content in Microsoft Graph, for example, emails, chat, documents that you have permission to access. Then we do can use the internet access as well, so that Copilot will can get a reference of information which is available onto the internet. And again, lastly, this one has got access to the Microsoft 365 apps that you use every day. For example, Word, PowerPoint, as well as Outlook, Teams, Loop, many more, to operate with Copilot to support users in the context of their work. Okay, so in all, Copilot combines the power of this large language model with data. So your data in the Microsoft Graph and the knowledge of the internet just at a time in point, and when the large language model was trained, but in real time, which is up to the knowledge, and it can be accessed through natural language across all of your Microsoft 365 apps to turn your words into most powerful productivity tool onto the planet. Okay, so probably you can take a screenshot of this. So these are few of the things that probably you can go ahead and try it out. So like for example, these are the top 10 kind of an try list for the Copilot for Microsoft 365 in case you want to get it used. So for example, if you want to recap a meeting, you want to summarize something, you want to draft the email, you want to summarize the document, or if you just want to get some information about the project which is happening, or maybe you are short of ideas, you are looking out for some kind of an ideas, you want to write something into the world, or you just want to get some information from Copilot, or maybe you just want to revise the content which you have written already, or if you want to translate the message. Okay, so these are the things that you can already do with the Copilot. All right, so now that let's come into this part. So when it comes for the Copilot for Microsoft 365, it helps people work better with Microsoft programs like Word, Excel that we have seen. But it's a very good at tasks like understanding, summarizing, predicting, and translating all those kind of things. When it comes to extending Microsoft 365 Copilot for Microsoft 365, onto the x-axis we do have knowledge. Okay, so all of this knowledge in Microsoft 365 lies with Microsoft Graph. Again, we can use internet capabilities onto it, and again there are something called as a Graph connector. Okay, so Graph connector will help you to bring the external data into Microsoft 365, and you can index that using your search, and then you can use Microsoft Graph to get the responses. The other thing, onto the y-axis, you already have access to the LLM using Copilot. You are using all those applications where we have access to the Copilot, and again on top of that you can create something called as plugins. Again, for example, if you want to create the plugins, there are multiple ways. Like for example, you can use this Microsoft Graph connector or plugins. And specifically, for example, if you are very much interested in plugin, so there are three questions that probably I will ask you. Like first thing is, for example, are you a Power Platform developer? If in case you are yes, then you can go ahead and create Power Platform connectors. No, for example, if you are not a Power Platform connector or Power Platform user, in that case, probably if in case you just want to get the data to be indexed, in that case, you can go ahead and use Microsoft Graph Connector. And lastly, for example, if you are a core developer like me who likes to code, in that case, you can obviously go ahead and create Microsoft Teams messaging extension, which can help you to do that part. Okay. All right. So with that, I just want to give you some hint of like how does the plugins look like. Okay, so plugins are nothing but it is kind of a functionality which is available into the Copilot, which you can turn on and off, and then Copilot can detect like which is functionality right now it is turned on or off, and then it can help you get the information from those plugins. Okay, so right now we have seen that we are in the era of generative AI, which is making the big changes in how we communicate and work with the technology. Okay, so Microsoft Copilot specifically is again a powerful example of generative AI. And we are not only limited to that text in, text out kind of a conversation, but we are into the era of conversational transactions. So with that multimodality in AI, it is now capable of processing the information from different models or different modalities like images, videos, and text. And for that, Microsoft has partnered with Suno probably 1 year back, which is a leader in AI-based music creation to bring their capabilities into Microsoft Copilot. And this is a plugin called as Suno. So, so with Suno, you can turn your ideas into the personalized songs regardless of your musical background. Okay, so let's say, for example, I just want to show you that demo. So if I again go back to my Copilot, so right now I'm into the copilot.microsoft.com and I have been logged in with my personal account. So as soon as I do that, I do have few plugins available, but let me just show you what is the experience without using the plugin. Okay, so I will just say like sing me a song on a rabbit. Okay, or maybe rain. Rain is okay. So let us go ahead and see. Okay, I'm not sure whether I have shared my sound with you or not, but let us see. All right. So if in case now if I go here and just click on this read aloud. So okay, so I'm not sure whether the voice was audible. Probably maybe someone can just give thumbs up or just confirmation that if the voice was audible. But now that from here you can see that it was able to give some musical references, not exactly the music, but it has given us some references of YouTube channels where we should be able to see some or hear to some uh, music or songs based on rain. But okay, now that will go into something called as a plugin. So I will go into the plugin and again there are various plugins which are available. And the last one that we see here is Suno. So I will just turn on this Suno plugin and I will give the same prompt again back to Copilot. So now that Copilot is aware that I'm trying to get some information onto Suno or onto okay, let me just refresh this page. Probably it wasn't able to pick up that plugin. So let me again go back into the plugins, turn on the Suno, and let me just ask the same thing. Sing me a song on rain. Okay. So if everything goes okay, look like something is not going good. So ideally, what should happen here is like it should go ahead and pick up that plugin called as Suno, which I have turned on, and then it should be able to sing a song for you. Let me just try it last time, or maybe you can try it, or even you can watch my YouTube video on that where I have explained in detail about this Suno plugin and how it works with Copilot. Right. So this is the last try I'm just trying to do with Suno. Okay, now you can see that here it is using this plugin called as Suno. You can see the symbols related to Suno, and then from here it should go ahead and create a song based on this Suno plugin. Okay, so here you can see that it has created some verse. It is creating some kind of an music in the background. Again, it will find out some good voice, definitely better than me, which can sing a good song for us, and then that's it. Once it is composed of all that lyrics, sound, music, and everything, we should be able to get the play button here, and then we will be able to listen to Suno. And since I'm using the free version of Suno, it will generate a clip for me with song just for 1 minute. But again, for example, if you are using the paid version of Suno, obviously you can get 15 20 minutes long song for you as well. Okay, so you can just see that this is the verse that we have got. So only two words that we have got, which it will use for the singing. But let's see. Let's wait until it does everything. Okay, so now that it is done everything, enjoy the song. Let me just play. All right, hopefully that was audible. So only thing that you can see here like that it has created two words. It has found two separate singers for that, and again it has created that entire song for you. Okay, so this is kind of an power that we have got with plugins, so that this Copilot is will be aware of there is something called as a plugin, and then it can go ahead and use that plugin. Okay, so I just want to show you some quick example that I have built with plugin. Obviously, I'm not that great programmer that I can create music, but I just have created one simple plugin using Teams messaging extension, which can help us to create some magic. But okay, so for example, if you are interested to do certain things like that, there is something called as a Teams toolkit for Visual Studio Code. So you just have to go to the Visual Studio Code and let me just show you. So once you are into the Visual Studio Code, you will have to go into this extension. You will have to search for Teams toolkit and get it installed. Okay. So once you have that installed, you will be able to create a plugin, something like this. So this is the plugin that I had built, which is kind of an writable data plugin with messaging extension, which allow users to post the classified listing of the items that they want to sell, buy, or rent. And again, users can use the search listing which is posted by others. Okay, so this is the Copilot, which I'm going to demonstrate you. And again, this one has got a few functionalities like with that you will be able to post the classified listings, search them, manage those your listing, as well as it is integrated with Microsoft 365 apps so that you can use that in Copilot chat as well as Teams chat. And again, since it is built on top of Microsoft 365, it is within the boundary of security and compliance. And obviously, this kind of a thing will enhance the user experience because we are creating a plugin for the functionality which people were looking out for, and then they can use this plugin within the interface of Microsoft Teams or Microsoft uh, Copilot. So these are the basic features that we will need. We will need Node.js, Visual Studio with Teams Toolkit extension install. Obviously, licenses. We will need Microsoft 365 and Copilot. And again, I'm just using blob storage to store the information into the Azure portal. But again, you can feel free to use any of the other storage, maybe SharePoint list or anything else. So this is the entire schema that I'm going to use. Probably not the good form of normalization, but in one table I have got list of cities, and in the other table I have got list of types. For example, the buy, rent, or sell kind of a thing user want to do. And this one will be our master table where I have got the title, description, price, city ID, and type ID will be the foreign keys. And again, name of the owner and the ID of the owner who is trying to buy, rent, or sell that information. Okay. So with that, let's get into a quick demo and see how that one looks like. So let me just open up the Copilot here and let me show you how that one works firstly, and then I will quickly walk you through the code. I will not get very deeper into the code, but again, I do have various videos available as well as the articles available that can help you understand the code. Okay, but this is the basic thing. So when it again comes to the prompt, we do have basic prompt as well as we do have advanced prompt. When it comes to the basic prompt, I'm keeping it very basic, like find bikes in classified listing. So classified listing is nothing but my keyword with which Copilot should be able to know that there's a plugin available called as classified listing, and it can go and find all the bikes. So here you can see that all of the bikes which are available, and as soon as I click onto this citation number one or maybe number two here, it opens up something called as an adaptive card, which is a platform agnostic JSON based representation of your data. And from here, you will be able to see the information. Okay, so right now I am in the context of Copilot, but this one is the customly created Copilot plugin with which we are able to show the data. Again, from here, you can add the listing and everything. And for example, if you are the owner of that, you will be able to delete this information from here as well. Okay, so this is the basic structure how it works. And again, we do have the advanced prompt. So advanced prompt is like with the basic information we are passing in certain information like I just want to find the bikes in classified listing in Mumbai. In that case, it can go ahead and give me this information for a specific bike which is available in Mumbai. Now that, for example, if I go into further search, like I want to find a bike for sale in Mumbai, but under 200,000 INR. In that case, it can go ahead and give me this listing. Okay, so this is the information that I will be able to pull with plugins. Now let us see like how that one works. So when you will create the plugin with Copilot plugin for Copilot using Teams Toolkit, it will have something called as a manifest.js, and here it will be the ID for this compose extension, which one will be used to detect your plugins. Okay, and then here we do have description and title. So description and title, these are the two things which Copilot looks into when it is trying to get into the plugins. Okay, so we should be very much clear about what plugin we are developing and then give that specific information here. Once we do that, again there are certain parameters like the title of the classified listing, for example, bike or maybe furniture that you are looking out for, the location, for example, Mumbai, where you are trying to get that information from, the type, that means whether you are looking to buy, sell, or rent that product, and what is the price of that product. Okay, so this is the information which is a basic user can give us. And here you can see that I was not using any kind of a buttons, or probably I wasn't using any kind of an interface to interact with this. This was just the plain simple English text user can input, and then we were able to get the output. So this is entirely natural language processing. So once we get that information, we process that information something like this. Like for example, if there are no parameters or just one parameter. For example, it is a find me bikes in classified listing. So that means it is a very basic kind of a prompt. So in that case, it will go ahead and use this part of my code. Otherwise, it can go ahead and get a specific item type, location, and price from my prompt, and from there it will make a call to my Azure service to go ahead and fetch the information from my Azure table storage. And after that, it will use something called as this adaptive card to compose all that information together and show it to the users. Okay, so this was the very basic kind of an implementation, but very effective because you are not making your user to go outside of your Microsoft 365 Copilot or Microsoft Teams application, but you are bringing all the information at their fingertips while they are using those applications like Microsoft Copilot or Microsoft 365 Chat or maybe Microsoft Teams. Okay, so you are making that effective way. All right, so that was all I just wanted to cover in this session. So thank you very much for listening to me. And if in case you have got more doubts or if you want to discuss more onto this, please give me a shout on LinkedIn and then we can discuss it more. All right. So with that, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much for joining us today and hope to see you soon.